Have you ever tried falling asleep while your mind drifts through the darkest corners of Earth's most chilling mysteries? From vanishing villages to eerie whispers beneath the sea, this isn't just a bedtime story. It's a slow descent into the strange, the unexplained, and the truly unsettling. So close your eyes, breathe deep, and let these haunting tales carry you into sleep, if you dare. 1. The Dietlov Pass Incident. In the remote Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia, a group of 9 experienced hikers embarked on a winter expedition in 1959. They never returned. When their campsite was finally discovered, what rescuers found was beyond disturbing. Their tent had been cut open from the inside. Their bodies were scattered across the snow, many of them barely clothed, some with fatal internal injuries, and one missing her tongue and eyes. The temperatures were freezing, yet some were found barefoot, as if they'd fled in a panic. Strangely, there were no signs of struggle with another person, and the injuries resembled those from a car crash, massive internal trauma without external wounds. The Soviet investigation labeled the cause a compelling natural force, but never explained what that force was. Over the decades, theories have ranged from an avalanche, military testing, and infrasound-induced panic to more outlandish ideas like alien encounters or secret weapons. In 2020, a partial explanation was released, suggesting a slab avalanche, but many still find this unsatisfying, as it doesn't account for all the anomalies. As you rest your head and listen to the quiet chill of this tale, imagine the cold winds brushing over snow-covered peaks, whispering secrets only the mountain knows. The Dietlov Pass remains a silent, frozen witness to a terrifying mystery that may never be fully solved. 2. The Missing Sodder Children. On Christmas Eve in 1945, a fire consumed the Sodder family home in West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder, along with 9 of their 10 children, were asleep when the flames broke out. They escaped with 4 of their children, but 5, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were never seen again. Oddly, no remains were ever found in the ashes. No bones, no traces. Investigators concluded the children had perished, but the Sodders never accepted that. George even conducted his own search through the burned rubble and found nothing to suggest the bodies had burned. Experts later agreed that bone fragments should have survived. Then things got stranger. A woman claimed to have seen the children in a passing car the night of the fire. Years later, a photograph arrived in the mail, a young man who bore a striking resemblance to Louis. On the back, the message read, "Louis Sodder. I love brother Frankie. Illil boys." A 90132 or 35. The Sodders believed the fire had been deliberately set and that their children had been kidnapped. They put up a billboard on Route 16, displaying the children's faces and offering a reward. It remained there for decades. To this day, the case remains unsolved. What happened to the Sodder children? Did they die in the fire, or were they taken? As you drift into sleep, let this quiet enigma wrap around you like a blanket. A mystery paused in time, whispering its questions into the night. 3. The Voyic Manuscript. In a quiet library at Yale University rests one of the world's most baffling books. Known as the Voyic Manuscript, this small volume is filled with delicate illustrations of unknown plants, strange star charts, and mysterious bathing women. But the real enigma lies in its text, pages upon pages written in a language no one has ever been able to decipher. Not scholars, not cryptographers, not even the best codebreakers from World War II. It's as if the book was written in a dream language. The manuscript is believed to have been created in the 15th century, though no one knows by whom or why. Some pages contain what look like recipes or scientific diagrams. Others seem to depict astrological cycles. But without a key to the language, all we're left with are guesses. Some believe it's an elaborate hoax. Others are convinced it holds ancient wisdom, written in a forgotten code. Theories suggest it might be from a lost civilization or even not of this world. The ink, the parchment, and even the handwriting style have all been studied intensely, but no firm answers have emerged. It simply remains a book that refuses to give up its secrets. As you gently close your eyes, Imagine holding a book no one has ever understood. Page after page filled with symbols that seem just on the edge of meaning. What if it's waiting for the right person to finally read it? Maybe, in a dream. 4. The disappearance of Flight MH370. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 vanished during a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. There were 239 people aboard. The plane took off normally and flew for a few hours. Then, without warning, it disappeared from radar screens. No distress signal. No trace. Just gone. The world searched. Satellites scanned the oceans. Nations cooperated, theories multiplied. Over time, a few pieces of debris washed up on distant shores, fragments of a wing, part of a flaperon, but the main wreckage was never found. To this day, the exact fate of the aircraft remains unknown. What happened during those final hours? Some theories point to mechanical failure or a sudden decompression. Others suggest a hijacking, or even a deliberate act by someone in the cockpit. Radar data showed the plane turning off course, flying into one of the most remote parts of the southern Indian Ocean. Why? No one knows for sure. What makes this mystery so haunting is its modernity. In an age of constant surveillance and GPS tracking, how can a massive airliner just vanish? Families were left with questions and heartbreak. The world was left with silence. Tonight, as you drift into a peaceful sleep, imagine a quiet sky, endless ocean below, and a mystery hanging somewhere between cloud and current. Flight MH370 remains one of Earth's most modern and chilling vanishings, an unanswered echo in the dark. 5. The Taos Hum. In the small town of Taos, New Mexico, nestled among desert hills and ancient adobe homes, a strange and persistent sound has puzzled residents for decades. It's not loud or sharp, it's a low, droning hum, like a distant engine idling just beneath the earth. What's unsettling is that only about 2% of the population can hear it. To those who do, it's constant and maddening, often interfering with sleep and peace of mind. The phenomenon, known simply as the Taos Hum, has defied all attempts at explanation. Scientists have visited the town with sensitive microphones and seismic detectors, trying to isolate a source. But no mechanical noise or geological activity matches the sound. Some believe it might be caused by unusual acoustics or inner ear conditions. Others suggest underground military bases, secret weapons, or even extraterrestrial technology at work. And then there are those who think the hum is more spiritual or paranormal, a frequency only certain people are attuned to. Over the years, similar hums have been reported in places like Bristol, England, and Largs, Scotland, but none are as famous or persistent as the one in Taos. As you lay in your own quiet room tonight, imagine that low, constant vibration beneath your floorboards, steady, untraceable, eternal. A soft hum that doesn't come from outside, but somewhere deeper. The Taos Hum remains one of Earth's most intimate and invisible mysteries, heard by few, explained by none. 6. The Wow Signal. It was a warm night on August 15, 1977, when astronomer Jerry Ehrman was scanning the skies for radio signals from deep space. Using the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio, he stumbled upon something extraordinary, a sudden, strong signal lasting exactly 72 seconds that stood out from the usual cosmic noise. It was so powerful and unusual that he circled it on the printout and wrote one word beside it in red ink: wow. Since then, the wow signal has remained one of the most compelling potential signs of extraterrestrial life. It came from the direction of the Sagittarius constellation, near no known stars or planets. It matched the frequency scientists believed an intelligent civilization might use to communicate, the hydrogen line, considered a universal hailing frequency. But the signal was never repeated. Dozens of follow-up attempts have failed to detect anything like it again. Was it a brief transmission from another world? A rare cosmic event? Or just a strange glitch? Some scientists have proposed natural explanations, like comets or reflections, but none fully explain the clarity and length of the signal. Others believe it could have been a deliberate message, a cosmic ping, sent out by an intelligence watching us from afar. As you rest tonight, imagine drifting through space, past stars and silence, and then, just once, a whisper in the void. A hello lost in the static. The wow signal remains a question mark written across the stars. 7. The Oak Island Money Pit. Just off the coast of Nova Scotia lies a small island shrouded in centuries of mystery, Oak Island. Since the late 1700s, people have been digging into what's known as the Money Pit, a deep, man-made shaft that some believe holds unimaginable treasure. It began when a teenager noticed strange markings on a tree and found a circular depression in the ground. He and his friends dug, discovering layers of wooden planks and stone at regular intervals. That was just the beginning. Over the centuries, countless excavations have taken place. Workers unearthed flood tunnels designed to trap and drown any who dig too deep. Mysterious stones with cryptic carvings were found. Coconut fibers, foreign to Nova Scotia, appeared deep underground. And then came the rumors: buried pirate treasure, secret Templar gold, even lost Shakespearean manuscripts. Yet no one has reached the treasure, if it even exists. Each time progress is made, disaster strikes: flooding, cave-ins, even deaths. Some believe the island is cursed. Others think it's a giant hoax. Despite the danger, people still dig, driven by obsession and the lure of the unknown. As you rest tonight, imagine digging deeper and deeper into the earth, past dark timber and cold stone, chasing a secret left by hands long vanished. Maybe there's nothing down there. Maybe it's everything. Oak Island keeps its secrets buried in silence, waiting for someone to find the truth, or to give up trying. 8. The Lost City of Atlantis. For over 2 millennia, people have searched for a sunken world whispered about in ancient texts, a magnificent island called Atlantis. Described by the philosopher Plato around 360 BC, Atlantis was said to be a grand civilization of advanced knowledge, incredible architecture, and powerful armies. Then, in a single day and night of misfortune, it vanished beneath the waves. Was Plato recounting a true event? Or was it merely an allegory about human pride and divine punishment? The mystery has endured through time, inspiring explorers, mystics, and dreamers alike. Some believe Atlantis lies off the coast of Spain, near the Strait of Gibraltar. Others think it may have been in the Caribbean, Antarctica, or even somewhere in the Mediterranean. Strange underwater structures have been discovered over the years, some natural, some man-made, but none have definitively been linked to the fabled city. What makes Atlantis so haunting is the feeling that something incredible was lost, a glimpse of humanity's potential wiped away and buried by the sea. Could it have been a real place, with knowledge and technology ahead of its time? Or is it simply a myth that echoes our longing for lost worlds? Tonight, as your thoughts grow quiet, picture a glowing city beneath calm waters, its towers crumbled, its secrets resting in silence. Atlantis might still be there, deep below, waiting to rise again, or to be dreamed of forever. 9. The Devil's Kettle Waterfall. Tucked away in the dense forests of northern Minnesota, there's a strange and beautiful waterfall known as the Devil's Kettle. Here, the Brule River splits into two. One side flows normally down a rocky slope, while the other pours into a deep, gaping hole in the earth and vanishes. For years, scientists, hikers, and mystery lovers have tried to figure out where the water goes. Dye tests, ping-pong balls, even GPS trackers have all failed to show where that second stream ends up. The water just disappears underground, as if swallowed by the earth itself. Geologists believe the river likely re-emerged downstream, beneath the surface, through porous volcanic rock. But the lack of definitive evidence has kept the legend alive. Locals tell stories of bottomless pits, portals, or even connections to hidden caves and otherworldly realms. The name Devil's Kettle itself evokes a dark cauldron, bubbling, unknown, and possibly cursed. There's something eerie about watching a river vanish into a hole with no visible end. It feels like nature has created a secret exit, a place where the rules are different, where things can just slip away. As your eyes grow heavier, imagine standing by that thundering waterfall, the roar of the river all around you, and a dark opening below, endlessly swallowing water and secrets. Where does it lead? What lies beneath? Maybe we're not meant to know. Maybe the Earth keeps some mysteries just for itself. 10. The Zone of Silence in Mexico. Deep in the desert of northern Mexico lies a barren and desolate area known as La Zona del Silencio, the Zone of Silence. It's a place where radio signals go dead, compasses spin erratically, and even birds seem to avoid flying overhead. Travelers who enter the zone report strange sensations, time distortions, and sometimes even sightings of glowing orbs in the night sky. This eerie stretch of land is located near the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve. The strangeness first gained attention in the 1970s when a US missile mysteriously veered off course and landed right in the center of the zone. Since then, stories have spread of magnetic anomalies and strange gravitational forces at work here. Some claim it lies along the same planetary line as the Bermuda Triangle and the Egyptian pyramids, part of an invisible energy grid that pulses across the Earth. Then come the stories of encounters, tall, blonde visitors dressed in unusual clothing, speaking perfect Spanish and vanishing without a trace. Locals speak of strange lights, sudden mechanical failures, and even disappearing time while inside the zone. Science offers partial explanations, from high iron deposits in the soil to atmospheric distortions, but nothing fully explains the silence or the strangeness that clings to the area like heat off the sand. As you drift off to sleep, imagine crossing that silent land under the stars, where nothing works and everything feels just a little off. The Zone of Silence waits, quiet and watching, wrapped in mystery and dust. 11. The Tongaskker Explosion. In the early morning of June 30, 1908, the sky above a remote part of Siberia suddenly lit up. A fireball streaked through the air, followed by a powerful explosion. Trees were flattened in a circular pattern for over 800 square miles, an area larger than some major cities. The blast was so strong, it could be felt thousands of miles away. Yet no crater was found. No debris. No confirmed meteorite. What exactly caused the Tongaskker explosion? Scientists believe it was likely a comet or asteroid that exploded mid-air before hitting the Earth, releasing energy equivalent to 15 megatons of TNT. But that explanation still leaves puzzles behind. If it was a comet, why haven't any remnants been discovered? If it was an asteroid, where is the crater? Some theorists suggest more exotic causes, like a black hole passing through Earth, an alien spacecraft crash, or even a secret experiment gone wrong. Local eyewitnesses described the sky burning, trees snapping like twigs, and the Earth trembling beneath them. Others believed it was a warning from the gods, a punishment sent from the heavens. To this day, the Tongaskker region remains a place of mystery and isolation, where nature has slowly reclaimed the blast zone. Trees have grown back, but the questions remain. As you slip into dreams tonight, imagine a quiet forest suddenly awakened by a flash of light, a whisper of something immense and unexplained. The Tongaskker event reminds us how little control we have over the sky above. 12. The Lead Masks Case. In 1966, on a quiet hill in Niterói, Brazil, two bodies were discovered lying side by side in the grass. They were dressed in formal suits, raincoats, and each wore a strange lead mask over their eyes. No signs of violence were found. Next to them were two towels, an empty water bottle, and a cryptic note: be at the specified place at 4:30. Take capsules after the effect, protect metals, await signal. The men were identified as two Brazilian TV technicians. They had told their families they were off to buy work supplies, but they never returned. The case baffled police, and to this day, no cause of death has ever been determined. The masks were homemade and served no clear purpose. The capsules mentioned in the note were never found. There were no signs of poisoning, trauma, or struggle. Some believe the men were part of a secret spiritual group experimenting with psychic communication or extraterrestrial contact. Others suggest they were trying to shield themselves from radiation, or even awaiting a signal from another world. The cryptic note, the masks, and the peaceful arrangement of their bodies only deepened the unease. The hillside where they were found has become part of local folklore, a place where two men waited for something that never came. As you drift off tonight, picture those silent figures under the setting sun, eyes shielded from something unseen. What were they waiting for? And did it, perhaps, find them after all? 13. The Green Children of Woolpit. Sometime during the 12th century, in the quiet English village of Woolpit, something strange occurred that still stirs wonder and unease. Villagers found two children, one boy, one girl, wandering near a wolf trap. They looked human but with one curious difference: their skin was a vibrant green. They spoke an unknown language and wore unfamiliar clothing made of strange fabric. The villagers, baffled but compassionate, took them in. At first, the children refused all food except raw beans. Over time, their skin gradually lost its green hue, and they began to learn English. They told a strange tale of coming from a land called St. Martin's Land, a twilight world where the sun never fully rose and everything was dim. They claimed they had been herding their father's cattle when a great noise occurred, and they suddenly found themselves in Woolpit. Sadly, the boy became sick and passed away. The girl, however, grew up and adapted to normal village life. But her story remained the same. She insisted that her home was underground, separated from ours by a vast river, and that everyone there was green like her. Theories have tried to explain the tale. Perhaps they were malnourished Flemish orphans, their green skin a symptom of poor diet. Others believe in something far stranger, another world, just beside ours, brushed by accident for only a moment. As your breathing slows and the night deepens, imagine a foggy field where the veil between worlds thins and green-skinned children wander through, lost and quietly magical. 14. The Summitton Man. One crisp morning in 1948, a man's body was found lying against a seawall on Summitton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. He was well-dressed, wearing a suit and polished shoes, with no signs of struggle or injury. The labels on his clothes had been carefully removed. He had no wallet, no ID, nothing that could tell anyone who he was. In his pocket, police found a small scrap of paper with two words typed on it: Tamam Shud. It was later discovered to be torn from the final page of a rare book of Persian poetry called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Intriguingly, a copy of the same book was later found in a stranger's car nearby. Hidden inside was a secret code and a phone number linked to a mysterious woman. Despite worldwide attention, the man's identity has never been confirmed. DNA testing has been attempted, but the mystery remains. Was he a spy? A poisoned lover? A man with a secret too heavy to carry? The phrase Tamam Shud means it is ended in Persian, an eerie farewell for a life no one could name. Now, as your mind slips into softer thoughts, picture that lonely figure on the beach, the waves brushing against the sand, the wind carrying the scent of salt and secrets. The Summitton Man left behind a perfect mystery, one final, quiet whisper that still hasn't been answered. 15. The Pollock Twins reincarnation case. In 1957, a tragic car accident took the lives of two young girls, Joanna, age 11, and Jacqueline, age 6, in the quiet town of Hexham, England. Their parents, John and Florence Pollock, were devastated. But a year later, something deeply unusual occurred. Florence gave birth to twin girls, named Jennifer and Gillian. From the start, these twins displayed strange behaviors and memories that didn't belong to them, or at least, not to this life. Jennifer, the younger twin, bore a distinct birthmark identical to one Jacqueline had. And as the girls grew older, they began to ask for toys the deceased sisters had owned, without ever being told about them. They named dolls and places they'd never been introduced to. They even showed fear of cars and would clutch each other in terror when one passed by, crying that something bad was going to happen. The Pollocks hadn't intended to raise the twins with stories of their lost sisters. They believed, quietly and deeply, that their daughters had returned to them, reborn, perhaps sent by fate to heal a wound that could never truly close. As the girls grew into adulthood, these memories faded, as though whatever link once connected them to their past selves had gently loosened. Still, the story stands today as one of the most compelling reincarnation cases ever recorded. As your eyes grow heavy, imagine two little souls making their way back through time and sorrow, finding each other again in a new life, holding hands in the unknown. 16. The Black Knight Satellite. High above Earth's orbit, where the silence of space stretches infinitely, a dark object has been seen circling our planet, silent, steady, and unexplained. Dubbed the Black Knight Satellite, this mysterious anomaly has stirred imaginations for decades. Some believe it's an ancient alien probe. Others think it may be evidence of advanced technology lost to time, or even a watcher sent long before our modern civilization arose. The first reports of the Black Knight began in the 1950s, when both American and Soviet tracking stations detected an unidentified object in polar orbit, something no country at the time had the ability to achieve. Astronauts during early space missions later claimed to see strange objects floating just beyond their view, sometimes moving against orbital paths. Then came the photographs, dark, jagged shapes captured by NASA missions, drifting silently among the stars. Official explanations have dismissed it as space debris or a thermal blanket lost during a mission. But those who've studied its erratic signals and shape believe there's more to the story, perhaps something far older than human technology, silently observing. Could it be a relic from another civilization? Or something put there, long ago, to watch us grow? Tonight, as you lay still beneath your own sky, imagine a silent object passing above you, older than memory, unseen by most, watching with unknowable purpose. The Black Knight Satellite reminds us that space may hold secrets not only of where we're going, but of who has already been. 17. The Unfinished Georgia Guidestones. In the quiet countryside of Elbert County, Georgia, a strange granite monument once stood, tall, gray, and carved with cryptic instructions for a post-apocalyptic world. Known as the Georgia Guidestones, the structure appeared mysteriously in 1980, commissioned by a man using the alias R.C. Christian. No one ever discovered his true identity. The monument consisted of 4 massive slabs arranged like a compass, with a central pillar and capstone. On each face, the same message was inscribed in 8 different languages. The first and most chilling guideline read, "Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature." Others urged truth, justice, and the unification of language and law, but many saw the messages as ominous, even authoritarian. People speculated, was this a warning? A blueprint from a secret society? A call for population control after a coming disaster? The Guidestones drew both curiosity and controversy for decades. Then, in 2022, part of the structure was mysteriously destroyed in an explosion, and the remaining stones were quickly demolished. The mystery only deepened. Why were they built? Who funded them? And why were they ultimately erased? Now they exist only in memory and photograph, like an ancient riddle suddenly wiped from the landscape. As your body relaxes into sleep, picture the quiet Georgia field where those towering stones once stood, whispering strange instructions to the wind. A message for the future? Or a warning lost to time? The Georgia Guidestones still ask questions that may never be answered. 18. The Bloop Sound in the Pacific Ocean. In 1997, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, hydrophones picked up a sound unlike anything ever recorded before. It was incredibly loud, so powerful, in fact, that it was heard from over 3,000 miles away. The sound was a deep, drawn-out, organic-sounding bloop. It wasn't a whale. It wasn't an earthquake. And for a time, no one could explain what had made it. The name the bloop stuck, but explanations didn't. Some scientists suspected it could be the sound of icebergs cracking or shifting far below the surface. But the signature of the sound was strangely biological. If it was made by a creature, it would have to be something enormous, larger than any known living thing. The location of the sound only added to the mystery. It came from near a remote region of the ocean eerily close to the coordinates given in H.P. Lovecraft's fictional tale of Alaya, the sunken city where the monstrous entity Chulhu lies dreaming. This eerie coincidence fueled speculation. Was something ancient stirring in the deep? Though N.A. later attributed the bloop to icequakes, the theory has never completely silenced the wonder or the unease. Tonight, let yourself drift downward, beneath the surface, past sunlight and silence, into the black pressure of the deep sea. Somewhere down there, a sound once rose, brief, low, and echoing across an empty world. What made the bloop? Perhaps it was just the earth groaning, or something far older, waking up. 19. The Hexom Heads. In 1971, in the quiet town of Hexham in northern England, two boys digging in their garden unearthed something strange, two small stone heads, each carved with human-like faces. They looked ancient, eerie, and handmade. The family brought them into the house, placing them on a shelf. That's when strange things began to happen. Doors slammed on their own. Objects moved without explanation. One night, the family reported seeing a half-human, half-animal creature moving through the house. Frightened, they removed the heads, but the disturbances continued. Eventually, the heads changed hands, ending up with researchers and paranormal investigators. And yet, everywhere they went, reports of bizarre events seemed to follow. Some believed the heads had Celtic origins, possibly used in ritual practices. Others thought they could be cursed objects or even a hoax. A sculptor eventually claimed he had made similar heads as part of a project decades earlier, hoping to dismiss the mystery as a misunderstanding. But his claim was never conclusively proven, and the heads that caused all the trouble had vanished. To this day, the Hexom Heads have never been found again. As you lay your head down, imagine discovering something small, old, and watching. Something carved long ago, its meaning lost, but its presence still strong. The Hexom Heads may have been stone, but perhaps they remembered something. And perhaps they didn't like being disturbed. 20. The Skeleton Lake of Rupkund. High in the Indian Himalayas, hidden among icy cliffs and snow-covered slopes, lies Rupkund Lake, a remote, frozen body of water also known as Skeleton Lake. When the snow melts in warmer months, something shocking is revealed, hundreds of human skeletons resting at the lake's edge and beneath its surface. Discovered in the 1940s, the skeletons sparked countless questions. Who were these people? How did they die so far from civilization? Early theories ranged from war casualties and ancient ritual sacrifices to a doomed pilgrimage. Then came a remarkable clue. Many of the skulls showed signs of blunt trauma, specifically deep cracks as if struck by something round and heavy. Yet there were no signs of battle or weapons. Later studies revealed that the remains belonged to multiple groups of people from different time periods. Some were from the 9th century, others much more recent. The most widely accepted theory today is chilling in its simplicity. These people were caught in a sudden, violent hailstorm with ice balls as large as cricket balls. Trapped in the high mountains with nowhere to hide, they were struck down by nature itself. And now, every summer, as the ice retreats, their bones reappear, silent and white beneath the sky. As you drift into sleep, picture that quiet, windswept lake, cradling secrets frozen in time. The mountains hold many mysteries, but few are as haunting as Rupkund, where the past rises with every thaw. 21. The Great Pyramid's construction techniques. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands tall and silent, casting its ancient shadow across the Egyptian desert. Built over 4,500 years ago, it remains one of the most iconic and mysterious structures on Earth. We know who it was built for, Pharaoh Khufu, but how it was constructed continues to baffle experts even today. The stones used in the pyramid's construction weigh up to 80 tons each. There are more than 2 million of them, placed with astonishing precision. Yet this engineering feat was accomplished long before the invention of cranes, pulleys, or modern tools. Some theories suggest vast labor forces using simple ramps and sleds. Others point to more radical ideas, forgotten technologies, lost civilizations, or even help from beyond our world. What's even more fascinating is the pyramid's alignment. It faces true north with mind-boggling accuracy. The internal passages align with specific stars. Some researchers believe it holds a mathematical code connecting it to the Earth itself. Its dimensions reflect ratios found in nature, such as pi and the golden ratio. Despite all the theories, no one can say with absolute certainty how the Great Pyramid was built. It stands as a testament not only to human ambition but to a knowledge that may have been greater, or simply different, than we understand today. As you rest tonight, picture that massive structure under a starlit sky, its secrets held tight in its ancient stones. Perhaps it was built not just to honor a king, but to outlive memory itself. 22. The Shroud of Turin. Hidden away in a cathedral in Turin, Italy, lies a piece of cloth that has captivated believers and skeptics alike, the Shroud of Turin. It's a linen sheet bearing the faint image of a man who appears to have been crucified. Many believe this shroud once wrapped the body of Jesus Christ himself. The image is not painted or drawn. It is a negative, only visible in full detail when photographed. The body shows wounds consistent with crucifixion, a pierced side, nail marks on the hands and feet, and bloodstains around the head, as if from a crown of thorns. The mystery deepens with every examination. Radiocarbon dating in 1988 suggested the cloth was created in the 13th or 14th century. But critics of that test argue the sample was taken from a repaired corner, contaminated by fire damage and centuries of handling. Other scientific studies have found pollen on the cloth that could only have come from the Middle East, and faint traces of ancient writing in Latin, Greek, and Aramaic. No one knows how the image was formed. It doesn't resemble any known artistic technique or material. Some believe it was created by a sudden burst of energy, possibly linked to the moment of resurrection. Others call it the greatest religious forgery in history. Tonight, as your eyes grow heavy, imagine the folds of an ancient cloth cradling a body lost to time, bearing a face both familiar and unknowable. Whether a miracle or a mystery, the shroud whispers from centuries past, asking us to look and wonder. 23. The disappearance of the Rowanoke colony. In 1587, over 100 English settlers arrived on Rowanoke Island off the coast of present-day North Carolina. They were the first attempt at a permanent English colony in the New World. Led by John White, the group faced a harsh and uncertain future, but White soon returned to England for supplies. Delayed by war, he wouldn't return for 3 years. When he finally did, in 1590, the colony had vanished, without a single clue as to what happened. The buildings were dismantled, not destroyed, suggesting the colonists left intentionally. The only sign left behind was the word Croatoan carved into a post. It pointed to a nearby island inhabited by the Croatoan tribe, but no definitive link was ever found. The people, their possessions, and their fates were gone, absorbed into the forest and time itself. Theories have swirled for centuries. Some believe the colonists assimilated with friendly Native American tribes. Others suspect they were wiped out by hostile forces, disease, or starvation. A few even claim the settlers fell victim to supernatural forces or alien abduction, lending the mystery an eerie timelessness. Rowanoke has become a symbol of a story left unfinished, a ghost colony that vanished without a trace. As you drift off to sleep, imagine stepping ashore to find silence, empty shelters, and the distant echo of laughter now lost to the wind. Where did they go? We may never know. 24. The Zodiac Killer's identity. Between the late 1960s and early 1970s, a serial killer who called himself the Zodiac terrorized Northern California. Taunting police with cryptic letters, strange symbols, and chilling threats, the Zodiac claimed to have killed as many as 37 people, though only 5 deaths were ever officially confirmed. He was never caught. The Zodiac's letters are infamous for their coded messages, some of which remain unsolved. His first cipher was cracked by amateur codebreakers, revealing a message that ended with, "I like killing because it is so much fun." He mocked law enforcement, sent blood-stained clothing to newspapers, and even threatened school children. Despite intense investigations, dozens of suspects, and decades of effort, his identity has never been confirmed. Over the years, countless theories have emerged. Was he a disgruntled teacher, a military cryptographer, or an anonymous drifter? Some believe the real killer died long ago, taking his secrets with him. Others argue he's still alive, watching as his legend grows. A few theorists even link the Zodiac to other famous cold cases, weaving an unsettling web of unsolved crimes. There's something uniquely disturbing about a killer who wanted fame, who left riddles behind like twisted puzzles waiting to be solved. And yet, all these years later, the Zodiac remains faceless, a shadow behind the letters. As you lie in the quiet of your room, imagine someone out there, still laughing in the dark, knowing we never solved his game. Sleep softly, but no, not every monster wears a mask. 25. The Mandela Effect. Have you ever been absolutely certain of a memory, only to discover the world insists it never happened that way? That unsettling sensation is known as the Mandela Effect. Named after the strange belief held by many that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s, despite living until 2013, it describes the collective misremembering of widely known facts or events. Some examples feel harmless. People recall the Monopoly Man wearing a monocle when he never did, or remember Berenstein Bears with an E when it's actually spelled Berenstain. Others are more mysterious, like entire groups of people remembering the location of New Zealand being different on world maps, or the color chartreuse being red instead of green. What causes these widespread memory glitches? Some blame the brain's tendency to fill in blanks or rewrite past experiences. But others believe something far stranger is at play. Theories include alternate realities, time shifts, or parallel dimensions briefly overlapping. In this view, the Mandela Effect is evidence we're slipping between versions of reality without realizing it. As you let your mind wander in the stillness of night, imagine waking in a world just slightly off from the one you knew. Familiar brands look different. Historical facts have changed. Everyone insists it's always been this way, except you. It's like reality itself is quietly shifting, just beyond your control. Are you remembering it wrong, or remembering it right in the wrong timeline? Sweet dreams. 26. The coral towers taller than skyscrapers. Far beneath the surface, beyond the sunlit shallows, coral doesn't stop growing. In fact, in some of the world's most remote ocean regions, coral reefs have formed massive vertical towers, rising from the seafloor like natural skyscrapers. Some of these coral towers are taller than the Empire State Building, stretching thousands of feet high, yet unseen by human eyes for centuries. They are built by tiny organisms, coral polyps, layering upon one another over millions of years. What makes them so mysterious is that many of these towers were discovered only recently, hidden in places we thought we had already mapped. Some were found by accident, during oil surveys or deep-sea fishing expeditions. And each time, scientists are stunned by their size and the life teeming within. These coral giants often support entire ecosystems, fish, crustaceans, even sharks, all living in vertical cities of color and texture. But their growth patterns don't always follow what we know. Some towers lean, others spiral. A few seem to hover, with thin bases holding up massive domes of coral high above the seafloor. Could some of them be anchored to ancient sunken land? Or perhaps growing on top of forgotten structures? As you settle into stillness, imagine gliding past one of these glowing towers in the deep. Each crevice alive with motion. Each layer a chapter of time. They are not just reefs, they are monuments. Silent, soaring cathedrals of the sea. 27. The Max Headroom signal intrusion. On a quiet night in November 1987, Chicago television viewers were watching the news when something utterly bizarre happened. In the middle of a broadcast, the screen suddenly flickered and was replaced by a distorted figure wearing a rubber Max Headroom mask. The hijacker bobbed and weaved in front of a rotating background, speaking in garbled phrases, singing a TV jingle, and making strange references that defied explanation. This intrusion lasted about 90 seconds and returned later that night during another show. The second time, the masked figure was shown being spanked with a fly's water while moaning. The entire scene was eerie, absurd, and utterly confusing. Then, just as suddenly, the transmission cut out, and regular programming resumed. No one took responsibility, and no one has ever figured out who did it, or how. To this day, the Max Headroom incident remains one of the most infamous cases of broadcast signal hijacking in history. Despite intense investigations by the FCC and FBI, the culprits were never caught. The level of technical expertise needed to override a TV signal in 1987 was substantial, suggesting either a very skilled individual or an inside job. As you drift to sleep, imagine watching TV late at night and suddenly seeing a ghostly figure emerge from the static, mocking you from the other side of the screen. Was it a prank? A message? Or something more sinister? Whoever it was, they were watching, and they left behind only questions. 28. The Mafar Lights of Texas. Deep in the vast desert of West Texas, just outside the tiny town of Mafar, strange glowing orbs appear in the night sky. These mysterious lights dance, split, hover, and even change colors. Sometimes they flicker like flames, other times they dart with the speed of shooting stars, only to stop suddenly and vanish into the horizon. Locals call them the Mafar lights, and they've been seen for well over a century. The first recorded sighting came in 1883, when a young cowboy mistook them for Apache campfires. But when he investigated, he found no fires, just empty desert. Since then, thousands have claimed to see the lights. Scientists have tried to explain them away as car headlights, mirages, or reflections caused by atmospheric conditions. Yet none of these theories fully hold up. Some of the lights appear in areas with no roads, and they've been spotted long before automobiles ever arrived. Visitors still travel to the desolate Mafar plains to catch a glimpse of the ghostly lights. Sometimes they see nothing. Other times, they're treated to a light show that defies all logic. Skeptics remain unconvinced, but believers insist there's something truly otherworldly in the air out there. As you close your eyes, imagine a night sky shimmering with stars, and then, suddenly, something else. Lights that move with intention, as if they know you're watching. Are they spirits? Messages from beyond? Or simply Earth itself whispering in color? Sleep well, but keep one eye on the horizon. 29. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the quiet English village of Woolpit during the 12th century, farmers stumbled upon a strange sight: two young children, a boy and a girl, wandering near a wolf pit. What made them unforgettable was their skin. It was green. The children wore unfamiliar clothing and spoke a language no one recognized. They seemed frightened, disoriented, and refused to eat any food given to them except for raw beans. Eventually, the children began to adapt. The girl survived, lost her green tint, and learned to speak English. She explained that they came from a place called St. Martin's Land, where everything was green and always in twilight. She said they had been tending to their father's herd when they followed a strange sound into a cave, only to emerge into bright sunlight and into Woolpit. The boy, unfortunately, grew ill and died soon after their arrival. The girl went on to live a normal life, but her origins remained a mystery. No trace of the children's homeland was ever found, and no one could explain how they appeared, where they came from, or why their skin had that strange hue. Some speculate they were suffering from chlorosis, a type of anemia. Others believe they were orphaned refugees speaking a lost dialect. But for many, the story of the Green Children is something much stranger, a glimpse into a parallel world, or a forgotten corner of the earth that doesn't play by our rules. As you drift into dreams, imagine stepping into the woods and finding someone who doesn't quite belong, green-skinned, wide-eyed, and whispering in a language lost to time. 30. The Hestalin Lights in Norway. High in the remote Hestalin Valley of central Norway, strange glowing lights have danced across the sky for decades, flashing, floating, and darting in ways no ordinary object should. These mysterious lights, often yellow, white, or red, appear without warning and can hover in place, streak across the valley, or even split apart and reform. Known as the Hestalin lights, they've puzzled scientists and locals alike since at least the early 1930s. The phenomenon gained intense attention in the 1980s, when sightings became more frequent, sometimes occurring multiple times a week. People described lights moving slowly, then suddenly accelerating, or glowing brightly before vanishing in an instant. These weren't fleeting glimpses, they were long-lasting and vivid enough to be recorded on film and observed through instruments. Researchers have tried to explain them using ideas ranging from plasma caused by natural geological activity to reflections of car headlights. But none of the conventional explanations fully capture the complexity or behavior of the lights. Some even suspect secret military experiments or alien visitors. Despite decades of observation and study, including scientific missions with radar and spectrometry, the lights remain stubbornly mysterious. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine standing in a cold, silent valley under a starry sky, and then, without a sound, a glowing orb rises from the horizon and hovers right in front of you. It pulses gently, like it's alive, then drifts upward and disappears into the night. No engine. No sound. Just light. Just mystery. 31. The humanoid creatures of Mount Roraima. Mount Roraima rises like a lost world, its flat summit perched high above the rainforests of South America, bordered by the countries of Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana. Shrouded in mist, it's one of the oldest geological formations on Earth, with cliffs so steep they isolate the mountaintop like an island in the sky. It's no wonder legends have surrounded this place for centuries. Among the most chilling are tales of strange, humanoid creatures said to dwell on the plateau. Explorers and indigenous tribes have reported sightings of shadowy figures with elongated limbs, glowing eyes, and unnatural movements. These beings are said to watch from a distance, vanishing into the mist before anyone can get too close. Some claim they're ancient guardians, others whisper they're not of this world at all. Mount Roraima's harsh, untouched ecosystem might easily hide secrets yet undiscovered. The terrain is difficult to navigate, and the weather changes without warning, keeping explorers at bay. Scientists have found unique species on its summit, plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Could there be something else up there? As your eyelids grow heavy, picture a hidden realm perched in the clouds, where creatures still roam that science has yet to name. A place lost in time, waiting quietly. Would you climb to the top, or stay where it's safe? 32. The Cursed Dybbuk Box. In the world of haunted artifacts, few are as feared as the Dybbuk Box. This small, antique wine cabinet gained notoriety after being auctioned online with a terrifying story attached. According to the seller, every owner of the box suffered misfortune, strange smells, nightmares, illnesses, and even death. The box was said to be inhabited by a Dybbuk, a restless, malevolent spirit from Jewish folklore. The box allegedly originated in Poland during World War II and was brought to the US with a Holocaust survivor. It was later passed from person to person, each one claiming eerie, unexplainable experiences. Lights would flicker, shadows would move, and feelings of dread would follow anyone who possessed it. Some even reported horrifying visions and sudden health problems. Eventually, the Dybbuk box ended up in a paranormal museum, sealed behind glass. But even there, it continues to stir unease. Visitors have fainted near it. Security cameras glitch around it. One famous musician even claimed his life began falling apart after just touching it. As you settle into sleep, imagine a simple wooden box resting silently on a shelf. But inside, something watches, waiting. It has no eyes, no form, just a cold presence that lingers long after the lid is closed. Would you dare open it? 33. The Blood Falls of Antarctica. In the frozen silence of Antarctica, where snow and ice reign supreme, something entirely unnatural bleeds from a glacier. Known as Blood Falls, this crimson flow spills from the Taylor Glacier into Lake Borgne, staining the ice in an eerie red. When it was first discovered in 1911, explorers believed it was algae causing the vivid hue. But as scientists looked closer, they found something much stranger. The red color comes from iron-rich water that's been trapped beneath the glacier for millions of years, cut off from light, air, and life. When this water finally escapes to the surface and reacts with oxygen, the iron oxidizes and turns red, like rust. But the mystery doesn't end there. What's even more fascinating is what's inside that ancient water. Scientists found microbes living in this sealed-off world, thriving without sunlight or oxygen, feeding on sulfur and iron. These creatures challenge our very idea of where life can exist. Could similar life forms survive on frozen moons like Europa or Enceladus? As you drift into sleep, imagine a glacier weeping blood in the loneliest place on Earth. A place where ancient secrets flow silently and life quietly persists in the cold, in ways we're only just beginning to understand. 34. The Beale Ciphers. In the early 1800s, a man named Thomas J. Beale allegedly buried a massive treasure, gold, silver, and jewels worth millions, somewhere in Bedford County, Virginia. But he didn't just leave a map. Instead, he left behind 3 encrypted documents, known today as the Beale Ciphers. One of these has been decoded. The other 2? Still uncracked. And until they are, the treasure remains lost. The one cipher that has been solved describes the contents of the treasure and mentions the location is revealed in another cipher, one that remains a frustrating mystery to codebreakers around the world. People have devoted their entire lives trying to decipher the remaining codes, hoping for fame, riches, or both. Some believe the whole thing is a hoax. Others are convinced the treasure is real, just waiting for the right key. The ciphers are written in numeric code, where each number supposedly corresponds to a letter. But without the correct reference text, like the Declaration of Independence was for the first one, the other 2 ciphers remain gibberish. As you begin to close your eyes, picture a chest full of shimmering treasure buried beneath layers of time and secrecy. A treasure map hidden not in drawings, but in numbers. And maybe, just maybe, the answer is still waiting to be found in plain sight, tucked into the folds of history. 35. The Nazca Lines of Peru. Etched into the arid desert plains of southern Peru lie vast geoglyphs known as the Nazca Lines, mysterious figures of animals, plants, and geometric shapes that can only truly be seen from the sky. Created by the ancient Nazca culture more than 1,500 years ago, these massive artworks stretch across nearly 200 square miles. But why were they made, and how? The figures are enormous: a spider, a monkey, a hummingbird, and other bizarre shapes carved by removing dark surface stones to reveal lighter earth beneath. The process was simple, yet the scale and precision remain baffling. Without aerial views, how did the Nazca people create such perfect proportions? Some believe they used rudimentary surveying tools or worked from scaled-down models. Others suggest even stranger ideas, like extraterrestrial influence or guidance from ancient flight. As for their purpose, theories abound. They may have served astronomical functions, pointing to solstices and star alignments. Others propose religious or ceremonial uses, with the lines acting as pathways for sacred pilgrimages or offerings to the gods. Still, no one knows for sure. As your body softens into sleep, let your mind float high above the Peruvian desert. Picture ancient artists crafting symbols so vast they could only be truly appreciated from the heavens. Symbols that have outlasted empires, enduring like whispers from another age, still waiting for us to understand. 36. The Havana Syndrome. In late 2016, American diplomats stationed in Havana, Cuba began reporting a bizarre mix of symptoms: sudden hearing loss, intense pressure in the head, dizziness, fatigue, and memory issues. Some described hearing strange, high-pitched noises right before the symptoms struck. What became known as Havana Syndrome spread not only through the US Embassy in Cuba, but later to diplomats in China, Russia, and even Washington, D.C. Despite years of investigations by intelligence agencies and medical experts, no conclusive cause has been found. Early theories suggested some kind of sonic weapon, perhaps designed to disorient or disable. Others suspected microwave radiation, covert surveillance tech, or even mass psychogenic illness, where stress and suggestion cause real symptoms in groups. Yet brain scans of some victims revealed signs of trauma, changes eerily similar to those found in people with concussion-like injuries, though no physical impact occurred. Some people recovered quickly, others experienced long-term neurological effects. And with no definitive explanation, speculation continues to grow. As you drift deeper into rest, consider a mystery not buried in ancient ruins or frozen tundra, but one playing out in our modern, hyperconnected world. A silent force, invisible and unexplained, haunting embassies and minds alike. The kind of mystery that blurs the line between science and the strange, and makes us wonder what forces may be at play in the shadows of global politics. 37. The Phantom Time Hypothesis. Imagine if a whole chunk of history, nearly 3 centuries, never actually happened. That's the bizarre suggestion of the Phantom Time Hypothesis, a theory proposed by German historian Heribert Illig in the 1990s. According to this idea, the years between 614 and 911 AD were fabricated, inserted into history through misdated records, forged documents, and mistaken calendars. Illig believed that Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII conspired to alter the dating system to place themselves at the prestigious turn of the first millennium. By manipulating calendars and rewriting events, they may have created phantom time, eras and rulers that never truly existed. Critics argue that the theory is easily debunked by archaeological evidence and consistent astronomical data. After all, records of eclipses and comets from that period match the modern timeline. But still, the idea lingers in the corners of historical curiosity. Could our understanding of time itself be wrong? As you close your eyes, drift into a world where the past is uncertain and time is malleable. Imagine waking up one day to find the year isn't what you thought it was. What if we've been living in a carefully crafted illusion, a stitched-together narrative? Whether you believe it or not, the Phantom Time Hypothesis invites us to question how well we really know the story of humanity. 38. The Mothman Sightings. In the quiet town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, something strange began to stir in 1966. Locals reported sightings of a dark, winged creature with glowing red eyes, a being that came to be known as the Mothman. Described as part man, part bird, this eerie figure appeared around the old TNT plant and was often linked with a feeling of dread. Witnesses claimed it could fly without flapping its wings, move faster than any bird, and vanish into the night sky. Some thought it was an alien. Others feared it was a harbinger of doom. And then, in December 1967, tragedy struck. The Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people. After that, the Mothman was never seen again in the area. To this day, no one knows what the Mothman truly was. A misidentified bird? A cryptid born from mass hysteria? Or something otherworldly, slipping through the veil of our reality? Similar sightings have since been reported across the globe, suggesting the creature, or something like it, continues to roam. As your breathing slows, picture the silhouette of a winged figure perched on a bridge, staring into the distance with eyes that glow like embers. Is it watching, warning, or simply wondering? The Mothman remains one of Earth's most chilling mysteries, fluttering just at the edge of reason and dream. 39. The Disappearance of D.B. Cooper. On a rainy November afternoon in 1971, a man calling himself Dan Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon. Calm and neatly dressed, he ordered a drink, lit a cigarette, and then quietly handed a note to the flight attendant. It said he had a bomb. He showed her a briefcase filled with wires and demanded $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. After landing in Seattle and receiving the ransom, he let the passengers go. Then, somewhere over the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, he did the unthinkable. He jumped from the plane at 10,000 feet and vanished into the night. Despite a massive manhunt and decades of investigation, no one knows who D.B. Cooper really was or what became of him. Only a few weathered bills matching the ransom money were found buried along a riverbank years later. Was he a skydiving expert who pulled off the perfect crime? Or did he die in the jump, swallowed by the wilderness? As you relax into stillness, imagine the cold wind rushing past as Cooper leaps into the darkness, money strapped to his body, vanishing like a ghost. A perfect crime, or a fatal gamble lost to time? No one can say for sure. 40. The Silent Zone of Mapimi. In the remote Chihuahuan desert of northern Mexico lies a stretch of land so strange, it's become known as the Zone of Silence. Radios don't work. Compasses spin wildly. Satellites lose signal. Locals tell of falling meteors, bizarre lights in the sky, and strange beings who appear and vanish without a trace. But what's behind this eerie phenomenon? First discovered in the 1930s when a pilot noticed his instruments acting up, the area gained fame in the 1970s when a US missile test accidentally veered off course and landed right in the zone. Since then, scientists and thrill-seekers alike have visited to study the electromagnetic disturbances that seem to defy logic. Some theories suggest natural magnetic anomalies in the Earth's crust are responsible, while others whisper about extraterrestrial technology buried deep below. There are tales of men in silver suits appearing to lost travelers and glowing orbs drifting silently above the desert floor. Wildlife here is oddly mutated, and some plants grow in ways not seen elsewhere. As you drift deeper into sleep, picture a vast, sun-scorched landscape where silence hums louder than sound. A place where compasses fail, stars seem closer, and reality might bend just a little. Whether it's science or something stranger, the silent zone holds tightly to its secrets. 41. The Skunk Ape of Florida. Deep in the humid, tangled swamps of Florida, stories persist of a creature both feared and elusive, the skunk ape. Described as a large, hairy, ape-like being standing over 7 feet tall, this creature is said to resemble Bigfoot but comes with a foul, musky odor that gives it its name. Eyewitnesses report glowing red eyes, immense strength, and a habit of vanishing into the thick mangroves just as quickly as it appears. Tales of the skunk ape stretch back to the Native American legends of the region, and sightings still occur to this day. People claim to have captured blurry photos and heard unearthly howls in the night. In 2000, a mysterious set of photographs was mailed anonymously to a sheriff's office, showing what appeared to be a large primate peeking through the palmettos. The sender? An elderly woman who claimed the creature visited her backyard regularly. Despite numerous investigations, no definitive evidence has been found. No bones, no bodies, just stories and shadows. Skeptics argue it's a case of mistaken identity, perhaps a bear or an escaped exotic animal. But for those who've seen it, the skunk ape is all too real. As you drift toward sleep, imagine wandering through a misty swamp, the chirping of frogs echoing, the still water rippling, and something huge watching, just beyond the trees. 42. The Wow Signal. On a quiet summer night in 1977, a radio telescope at Ohio State University picked up something incredible, an intense, narrowband radio signal coming from the constellation Sagittarius. It was so strong and unusual that the astronomer who discovered it, Jerry Ehrman, circled the data and wrote "Wow" in red ink. Since then, it's been known as the Wow signal, and it remains one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for extraterrestrial life. The signal lasted for 72 seconds and was never detected again. It didn't repeat, and no known natural or human-made source has ever explained it. It was precisely the kind of signal scientists had hoped to find, something that might suggest intelligent origin, possibly from an alien civilization trying to make contact. Over the years, countless theories have been proposed. A comet, a secret military transmission, a satellite, none proven conclusive. Even after decades of searching the same spot in the sky, nothing like the Wow signal has ever returned. Its mystery lies not only in its strength but in its silence. One brief, electrifying moment of potential contact, followed by decades of quiet. Was it a message that missed us? A cosmic fluke? Or a whisper from the stars we're not yet ready to understand? As you close your eyes, let your mind drift beyond Earth's atmosphere, into the vast quiet of space, where perhaps someone, somewhere, once tried to say hello. 43. The Yotze Case. In 1984, a man named Gunther Stoll muttered a strange word before vanishing into the night, Yotze. A German food engineer who'd been acting paranoid, Stoll told his wife someone was after him. That night, he suddenly exclaimed, "Now I've got it," and scribbled the letters Yotze on a piece of paper. What it meant, no one knows. What happened next is even more baffling. A few hours later, Stoll was found naked and barely alive in his crashed car, miles from his home. Before dying, he claimed there were 4 strangers in the car with him who fled the scene. But no one else was ever found. There were no signs of struggle, and the cause of his injuries didn't fully match a car accident. Yotze isn't a known word or acronym. Some theorize it might be a call sign, a code, or a cipher. Others believe it could be a mistaken transcription of a different series of letters. The case remains unsolved, and the meaning of those 6 letters continues to haunt true crime enthusiasts and codebreakers alike. As sleep creeps in, picture a man uncovering a secret too strange to comprehend, one that followed him into the dark, leaving behind nothing but a cryptic string of letters and an enduring mystery. 44. The Mystery of Skinwalker Ranch. In the remote Uinta Basin of Utah lies a place so strange, so saturated in mystery, it's been dubbed the most scientifically studied paranormal hotspot in the world. Skinwalker Ranch is infamous for reports of UFO sightings, glowing orbs, mutilated cattle, shapeshifters, and otherworldly creatures. The name comes from Navajo legend. Skinwalkers are shape-shifting witches, feared for their dark powers. But the phenomena at the ranch go far beyond folklore. Former owners reported strange lights in the sky, doors opening on their own, and animals appearing frozen with precise surgical cuts. A team of scientists later moved in, funded by a billionaire, to study the area. But even with all their instruments, they couldn't explain what was happening. Some researchers left after experiencing terrifying personal events, including physical injuries and bizarre visions. Cameras would go offline moments before something strange occurred. Equipment would malfunction in ways that defied logic. Is it a gateway to another dimension? A place where the rules of reality bend? Or simply the center of decades of misunderstanding and fear? As you begin to drift off, imagine standing beneath a starlit sky, on ground where reality itself might be thinner, where every shadow could be something watching, waiting, or whispering from another world. 45. The Mysterious Coral Castle. In the quiet town of Homestead, Florida, a man named Edward Leedskalnin built something so baffling, it still confounds scientists and engineers to this day. Called the Coral Castle, it's a sprawling structure made of massive blocks of coral rock, some weighing as much as 30 tons. What's truly mind-boggling is that Ed built it entirely by himself, without modern tools or machinery, and never allowed anyone to watch him work. Leedskalnin, a slender man standing barely over 5 feet tall and weighing about 100 pounds, claimed he had discovered the secrets used by the ancient Egyptians to build the pyramids. He worked mostly at night, in secrecy, moving and carving immense stones with such precision that they fit together perfectly, without mortar. Even today, experts struggle to explain how he did it. There are no definitive records of his techniques, no photographic evidence of him lifting the stones, and the tools he left behind are rudimentary at best. Some speculate he had a deep understanding of magnetism and gravity, others believe he tapped into some lost or mystical knowledge. The Coral Castle includes a giant sundial, a functioning stone gate that turns with a finger's touch, and various astrological carvings, all aligned with celestial patterns. It's both an architectural marvel and a coded message from a man who took his secrets to the grave. As you begin to drift off, picture this silent wizard of stone, alone under the moonlight, coaxing ancient secrets from the earth and fitting them into place by hand. A castle built not for kings, but for mystery, and for the lost love he never forgot. 46. The Gurning Man of Glasgow. During the 1970s, several unsettling reports emerged from Glasgow, Scotland, about a strange and disturbing figure who came to be known as the Gurning Man. Witnesses described him as a tall, thin man dressed in tight, dark clothing, who appeared suddenly, often near parks or bus stops, at night. But it wasn't just his appearance that terrified people, it was his behavior. Those who encountered the Gurning Man claimed he would twist his face into grotesque, unnatural expressions, contorting it into what looked like a permanent grimace or sneer. Some even reported seeing him tremble or emit strange, moaning sounds while watching them from the shadows. In many cases, he didn't speak or approach, he simply stared and gurned, vanishing without a trace when authorities arrived. What makes this mystery so haunting is that the sightings weren't isolated. Multiple people, who didn't know one another, gave similar descriptions over a span of years. Police investigated, but no suspect was ever found. And then, just as suddenly as he appeared, the Gurning Man stopped showing up. Some have tried to rationalize the encounters, suggesting a mentally ill individual or a performance artist. Others lean toward the paranormal, perhaps a ghost, a trickster spirit, or even an interdimensional being. No one can say for sure. As you close your eyes, imagine walking home under dim city lights, your footsteps echoing on wet pavement, when you feel eyes watching you. And then, from the corner of your eye, a figure with a warped, contorted face slowly emerges from the darkness, only to disappear like a ghost into the night. 47. The village that vanished, Anjikuni Lake. In the frigid reaches of northern Canada, nestled beside the icy waters of Anjikuni Lake, lies one of the eeriest disappearances in modern history. It was 1930 when a Canadian fur trapper named Joe LaBelle arrived at a remote Inuit village he had visited before, only to find it completely abandoned. The fires were still smoldering, meals sat uneaten, and personal belongings were left behind. But every single inhabitant, dozens of people, had vanished into thin air. LaBelle, disturbed by the silence, reported the incident to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. When authorities arrived, they too found no signs of struggle or migration. Even stranger, the village's sled dogs had died from starvation, still tied to their posts, as if whatever happened was sudden and left no time for preparation. There were reports of strange lights in the sky, whispers of a curse, and even a legend of a vengeful spirit that could steal entire communities. To this day, no trace of the villagers has ever been found. There were no footprints leading away from the site, only a haunting emptiness frozen in time. As you slowly drift off, imagine standing in that snow-covered silence, the wind gently howling through an abandoned settlement. Doors swing open on their own. No answers. No goodbyes. Just a vanished people, their stories swallowed by the cold night and buried in snow. 48. The Men in Black. Long before they became Hollywood icons, the Men in Black were whispered about in UFO lore, mysterious figures in dark suits who appear unannounced after sightings of unidentified flying objects. Witnesses often describe them as expressionless, almost robotic, and possessing unnerving knowledge of the witness's private life. They don't ask questions, they give warnings. Don't talk about what you saw. Forget it happened. Or else. The phenomenon began gaining attention in the 1950s, when several UFO researchers and contactees reported being visited by these strange men. Their presence is often followed by malfunctioning electronics, sudden memory lapses, or an overwhelming sense of dread. Some even claim the Men in Black aren't human at all, but extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings masquerading as government agents. Their behavior is just off. They speak in outdated slang or misunderstand basic human emotions. One report described a man in black trying to drink Jell-O with a straw. Another said one visitor asked what a pen was, then tried to eat it. These oddities only add to the growing belief that there's something not of this world, wearing a mask of human identity that doesn't quite fit. As you begin to drift, imagine a knock at your door late at night. You open it to find two pale-faced men in black suits, their eyes too dark, their voices too calm. They smile and ask if you've seen something strange in the sky. You try to answer, but your words get caught in your throat. They already know what you saw, and they've come to make sure you forget. 49. The 3,000-year-old Baghdad Battery. In the 1930s, archaeologists uncovered something deeply puzzling near Baghdad, Iraq, a small clay jar, inside of which was a copper cylinder and an iron rod. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than an ordinary vessel. But when scientists examined it closer, they realized this ancient object might have been capable of generating electricity, like a battery. Dubbed the Baghdad Battery, this artifact dates back over 2,000 years, possibly even 3,000. The theory goes that if the jar had been filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or lemon juice, it could have produced a small electric charge. But the real question is, why? What could ancient people have needed electricity for? Some suggest it was used for electroplating, coating objects with thin layers of gold or silver. Others think it may have had a spiritual purpose, like giving small shocks during religious rituals. And of course, some theories drift into the fringe: alien technology, ancient power sources, or knowledge long lost to time. No one has found texts explaining its purpose, and skeptics argue it could be a coincidence in design. Still, when modern scientists built replicas, they worked. They produced electricity. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine a flicker of electric light in a temple thousands of years ago. The quiet hum of power sparking where it shouldn't be. A civilization possibly far more advanced than we've ever imagined, whose secrets hum quietly beneath centuries of dust. 50. The crystal skulls. Scattered around the world are perfectly carved skulls made entirely of crystal, objects so precise that even with today's tools, replicating them would be difficult. Some say they are ancient relics with mystical powers, able to emit energy, cure diseases, or store knowledge from lost civilizations. The most famous skull, often called the Mitchell-Hedges skull, was allegedly discovered in the 1920s in Belize. It's made of clear quartz, carved against the grain, with no visible tool marks. Experts who studied it were baffled. If it really was made by hand, it would have taken hundreds of years of polishing. But by whom? And for what purpose? Skeptics argue many of these skulls were created in the 19th century, possibly in Europe. Yet believers insist they are older, possibly Mayan, Aztec, or even Atlantean. Legend holds there are 13 such skulls, and when they are reunited, they will unlock some great cosmic truth or reveal knowledge from the stars. Some claim the skulls respond to human touch or emit faint vibrations. Others speak of strange dreams and visions after being near one. Whether they are the product of masterful artistry or something more mysterious, their origin remains unsolved. As you begin to fade into sleep, picture a crystal skull resting on a velvet cloth, glowing softly in candlelight. Its hollow eyes seem to watch, to remember, and to wait for a secret only time or dreams may one day reveal. 51. The mystery of the Baltic Sea anomaly. In 2011, a team of Swedish treasure hunters using sonar equipment made a bizarre discovery beneath the Baltic Sea. Resting 300 feet below the surface was a strange, disc-shaped formation that looked uncannily like a crashed UFO. This massive object, about 200 feet in diameter, had stair-like features and symmetrical lines that seemed far too structured to be natural. Dubbed the Baltic Sea anomaly, it instantly became the focus of intense speculation. Some theorized it was an alien spacecraft. Others thought it might be an ancient structure left behind by a lost civilization, or even a top-secret Nazi war machine. But skeptics argue it's simply a glacial deposit, a natural rock formation shaped over thousands of years. Still, the mystery deepened when divers reported that their electrical equipment stopped working when they approached the object, and sonar images showed unusual patterns not typical of natural seabed formations. Despite numerous investigations, no conclusive explanation has emerged. Limited funding and harsh underwater conditions have made further study difficult. The object remains hidden in the darkness of the Baltic depths, its origins cloaked in icy silence. As you drift toward sleep, imagine the sea concealing secrets from another time or another world. Could something alien lie beneath the waves, waiting for us to unlock its story? Or is nature simply more mysterious than we ever imagined? 52. The Legend of El Chupacabra. In the shadowy corners of rural Puerto Rico during the mid-1990s, whispers began to spread of a creature haunting the night, something that killed livestock, drained their blood, and vanished without a trace. Locals called it El Chupacabra, or the goat-sucker. Descriptions of the beast varied wildly, but many claimed it had glowing red eyes, spines down its back, and a monstrous, otherworldly appearance. Farmers would wake to find their animals, goats, chickens, even cows, dead with strange puncture wounds on their necks and their blood completely drained. No tracks, no struggle, just eerie silence. Fear spread quickly, and soon, reports of similar attacks appeared across Latin America and even into parts of the United States. Was it a government experiment gone wrong? An alien predator? Or something much older, hiding in the dark for centuries? Skeptics suggest it's merely a case of mass hysteria, with wild dogs or coyotes responsible for the attacks. But believers point to the surgical precision of the wounds and the sheer volume of eyewitnesses who swear they saw the creature with their own eyes. In some cases, strange flying objects were also reported nearby. Despite investigations, no definitive proof of the Chupacabra has ever surfaced. Yet the legend endures, its shadow still prowling the edges of campfires and the deepest parts of rural imagination. As your eyes grow heavy, think of the legends passed from mouth to mouth, growing stranger with each telling. Could something unknown still roam the darkness, just out of sight, feeding quietly on our fears? 53. The unexplained booms heard worldwide. Imagine you're lying in bed late at night when, out of nowhere, a thunderous boom shakes the air, loud enough to rattle windows and set off car alarms. But there's no storm, no explosion, and no explanation. These mystery sounds, often called skyquakes or unexplained booms, have been reported all over the world for centuries, from the east coast of the United States to remote parts of India. The sounds are startling, deep, resonant, and powerful enough to be heard for miles. Sometimes they come in clusters, shaking homes and startling entire communities. Scientists have proposed theories. Maybe they are caused by meteors exploding in the atmosphere or secret military aircraft breaking the sound barrier. Some suggest tectonic shifts beneath the Earth or atmospheric conditions focusing distant thunder. But many of these booms happen in areas without fault lines or storms. In some cases, governments have launched official investigations, only to come up empty-handed. When these booms occur over the ocean, they're even harder to explain. No land, no people, just sound echoing across the waves. With no clear origin, they've inspired conspiracy theories, from alien activity to portals between dimensions. As you ease into sleep, imagine the sky above you holding secrets we can't see, sound waves crashing invisibly from causes unknown. What if these booms are more than natural quirks? What if something, or someone, is knocking at the edges of our reality, waiting for us to notice? 54. The raining fish phenomenon. Imagine looking up to a cloudy sky and being hit, not by raindrops, but by fish. This isn't a strange dream or a tall tale, it's a real phenomenon reported in places like Honduras, India, and even parts of the US known as animal rain. This bizarre occurrence most famously takes place in Honduras, during a weather event called Lluvia de Peces or Rain of Fish. Locals claim it happens at least once a year, typically after intense thunderstorms. Scientists believe waterspouts or powerful updrafts in storms may be to blame, sucking up fish or other small aquatic creatures from nearby bodies of water and carrying them miles before dropping them. However, the fish found during these rains in often aren't species known to inhabit nearby rivers or oceans. Some say they appear blind or dazed, adding another layer of mystery. Is it a natural meteorological event, or could there be something else at work? Underground springs, mass hallucination, or perhaps even an unexplained environmental trigger? While some dismiss it as folklore, the consistent reports and actual fish scattered across fields leave skeptics scratching their heads. As you slowly drift off, Picture fish quietly falling from a gray sky, landing softly on rooftops and roads in the twilight. It's a gentle yet strange reminder that Earth's mysteries can descend upon us without warning, in the most unexpected and surreal ways. 55. The Vela Incident, South Atlantic Flash. On September 22, 1979, a U.S. satellite named Vela 6911 detected a mysterious double flash of light over the remote South Atlantic Ocean. This double flash was eerily similar to the signature of a nuclear explosion. The event was immediately classified, sparking global speculation and decades of debate. What caused the flash? Was it a nuclear test? If so, who conducted it? The prime suspect has long been a secret joint test by Israel and South Africa, possibly of a low-yield nuclear weapon. However, both nations have denied any involvement. Other theories suggest a meteor strike, a technical glitch, or even an atmospheric anomaly, though none have been conclusively proven. Declassified U.S. documents lean toward a nuclear test being the most likely cause, but with no hard evidence, it remains one of the Cold War's most shadowy puzzles. Scientists and intelligence analysts continue to argue about the readings from the Vela satellite. Some claim it was a false positive caused by a malfunction, while others point out that such malfunctions are rare and that the flash's characteristics closely match those of known nuclear detonations. As you lay your head down, imagine the deep, dark ocean under a star-speckled sky, and for a brief second, an unearthly flash of light. No one near enough to see it. No witnesses. Just a sudden, silent burst in the void. And with it, a mystery still glowing faintly in the archives of history. 56. The reincarnation of Shanti Devi. In 1930s India, a little girl named Shanti Devi shocked her family and teachers with the calm certainty that she had lived another life. From the age of 4, she claimed her real name was Lugdi Devi and that she had died giving birth in a town neither she nor her family had ever visited, Mathura, over 100 kilometers away from their home in Delhi. At first dismissed as childhood imagination, her stories grew more specific. She spoke of her husband, the color of his house, the neighborhood layout, and even the family she left behind. Eventually, her story gained national attention and reached Mahatma Gandhi himself, who formed a commission to investigate. To the astonishment of all, the details she provided checked out. The man she described was real. He confirmed that his wife, Lugdi, had died years earlier in childbirth, just as Shanti had said. Shanti's case remains one of the most thoroughly documented and investigated reincarnation stories ever. Skeptics argue that the information could have been coached or overheard, but no one has definitively debunked the case. To this day, it's used in debates over the possibility of reincarnation, consciousness beyond death, and the mysteries of memory. As you settle into sleep, think of a little girl remembering a life she never lived in this one. Her memories not imagined, but inherited, like echoes from a past life whispering through the veil of time. A child caught between two worlds, reminding us that some stories may stretch beyond the borders of birth and death. 57. The mystery of the Black Volga car. In the 1960s and 70s, a wave of eerie rumors swept across Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union about a car so sinister it became a legend. The Black Volga, often described as a sleek, jet-black Soviet limousine, was said to be the vehicle of choice for kidnappers, secret police, or worse, supernatural entities. According to these chilling tales, anyone who saw the car would soon vanish without a trace. Children were said to be abducted off the streets, never to return. What makes the Black Volga so terrifying isn't just its mysterious appearance, but the sheer scale of fear it provoked. Whispers of a cursed or haunted vehicle began to circulate, with people claiming it had white curtains, silver trim, and license plates that changed at will. Some believed it was driven by Satanists or vampires. Others swore it was a tool of the KGB, abducting people for dark experiments. No hard evidence ever surfaced. No one could ever prove the car existed in the way the stories claimed. And yet, the myth spread like wildfire, fueled by the paranoia and secrecy of the Cold War era. It was a time when fear was easy to ignite and hard to extinguish. So as you begin to rest, Picture a long, lonely road at night. In the distance, the faint gleam of headlights appears. There are no other cars. Just you, and the sound of a quiet engine approaching. The black Volga, whether real or imagined, remains a symbol of fear, power, and the unknown, a mystery riding through history with its windows forever drawn. 58. The Jersey Devil. Deep within the tangled forests of New Jersey's Pine Barrens lurks a creature that has haunted locals for over 250 years. Known as the Jersey Devil, this winged, hooved, horned beast is said to emit blood-curdling screams in the dead of night. Its origins are murky, tied to a strange legend dating back to 1735. According to folklore, a woman named Mother Leeds gave birth to her 13th child and, out of frustration, cursed it. That child transformed into a terrifying monster, spread its wings, and flew up the chimney, disappearing into the wilderness. Since then, countless sightings have been reported. People describe a creature with bat-like wings, glowing red eyes, cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It soars through the trees and has even been blamed for livestock deaths and strange noises echoing through the woods. In the early 1900s, a week-long wave of Jersey Devil panic swept the region, closing schools and arming hunting parties to track the beast. Despite scientific skepticism, belief in the Jersey Devil persists. It has become a permanent part of local identity, inspiring everything from horror stories to hockey team names. The Pine Barrens themselves, with their misty trails and isolated paths, add to the aura. It's a perfect setting for something unknowable to hide. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine the hush of the forest around you. The wind rustling through pine needles. Then a distant screech, shrill, unearthly. Could it be a bird? Or something else? The Jersey Devil, whether myth or mystery, continues to haunt the edge of our understanding, hiding just beyond the reach of our lantern light. 59. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops. In March 1918, one of the US Navy's largest and strongest ships vanished without a trace. The USS Cyclops, a massive coal-carrying vessel nearly 550 feet long, set sail from Barbados en route to Baltimore. It never arrived. No distress signals were sent. No wreckage was found. All 306 crew and passengers aboard simply disappeared. It remains the single largest non-combat loss of life in US Navy history. What makes the Cyclops mystery even more unsettling is that it vanished within the infamous Bermuda Triangle, a region already shrouded in tales of vanishing ships and aircraft. The ship was considered sturdy and reliable, captained by an experienced officer. But reports had surfaced that one of the engines was malfunctioning before its final journey. Still, no one expected complete silence. Speculation about its fate has ranged from plausible to bizarre. Some believe it was sunk by a storm or enemy attack. Others whisper about mutiny or sabotage. And then there are the paranormal theories that it was swallowed by the sea, abducted by aliens, or slipped through a rift in time. Despite multiple investigations, no solid leads have emerged. The ship's final route should have left debris if it had sunk, but nothing was ever recovered. Even the Navy's official records offer no concrete answers. As you settle in for the night, let your thoughts drift across calm, dark waters. Picture a ship gliding silently through the waves, never to be seen again. The USS Cyclops continues to haunt maritime history, a ghost ship whose final moments remain locked in the deep. 60. The disembodied voices of electronic voice phenomena. In the stillness of abandoned buildings, graveyards, or even your own living room, people claim to hear voices that aren't there. These aren't figments of the imagination, but whispers caught on tape, electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. Ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, and even curious skeptics have recorded faint murmurs, full sentences, and eerie replies using simple audio equipment. But what are these voices, really? Some believe they are spirits of the dead trying to communicate through electronic frequencies, slipping through the veil between worlds to leave a message. Others think the sounds are the result of auditory pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find meaning in randomness, like hearing words in static. Skeptics argue that many EVP recordings can be explained by background noise, radio interference, or suggestion. But sometimes, the voices are chillingly specific. In famous recordings, responses seem to answer direct questions, revealing names, dates, or even foretelling danger. These moments send shivers down the spine, as if someone, or something, is truly listening from the other side. As you fall asleep, imagine the silence around you isn't empty at all. That in the hum of your electronics or the static between radio stations, something might be speaking, softly, patiently, waiting for someone to notice. Whether it's science, spirits, or something else entirely, the mystery of EVP continues to intrigue and unnerve. 61. The Valley of Headless Men, Nahanni Valley. In Canada's remote Northwest Territories lies a place both breathtaking and terrifying, Nahanni Valley. Towering cliffs, boiling hot springs, and wild rivers cut through this untouched wilderness. But behind its beauty lies a darker reputation. This place is known by another name, the Valley of Headless Men. The name isn't just folklore. Since the early 1900s, several gold prospectors and explorers have vanished here, some later found decapitated in gruesome, unexplained conditions. Brothers Willie and Frank McLeod went missing in 1908. Their headless bodies were found years later. Others followed, often with the same horrifying outcome. No killer was ever found. Local Dean legends speak of evil spirits, mountain protectors, or ancient curses. Some blame the harsh terrain, wild animals, or rogue hermits. But no theory fully explains the headless corpses or why the area remains so dangerously unpredictable. The Canadian government even declared it a national park, partially to limit access. Helicopters have crashed, hikers have disappeared, and still, the rumors grow. Something about Nahanni Valley refuses to be tamed or understood. As your eyes grow heavy, picture a lost valley shrouded in mist and legend. A place untouched by time, guarded by mountains and silence. And deep within, secrets sleep, and sometimes awaken. 62. The Ghost Blimp Mystery of 1942. It was the height of World War II when a U.S. Navy blimp known as L-8 took off from San Francisco Bay on a routine patrol. 2 experienced crewmen were aboard, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The blimp ascended into the sky, and hours later, returned drifting aimlessly, crashing into a street in Daly City. But when rescuers arrived, they found something strange. The blimp was intact, its engines working, radio on, but the crew was gone. There were no signs of struggle or parachute use. The life raft and weapons were untouched. The door was latched from the inside. It was as if the men had simply vanished into thin air. This became known as the Ghost Blimp Case, one of the most puzzling disappearances in military history. Theories ranged from a secret mission gone wrong to alien abduction, mutiny, or even desertion. But neither man was ever found, and no evidence surfaced to suggest what had happened. The L-8 continued in service as an unmanned blimp for promotional events, but the mystery remained. To this day, no one knows where the crew went or why they abandoned a perfectly functional aircraft mid-flight. As you drift deeper into sleep, imagine a silent blimp floating over the ocean, ghost-like and empty. A vessel with no answers, only questions lost to the sky. What happened up there remains an enigma, suspended between history and myth. 63. The Belmez Faces of Spain. In a quiet home in the village of Belmez, Spain, something strange appeared beneath the kitchen floor, a human face, seemingly etched into the cement. It wasn't painted or drawn. It simply appeared. And when the family tried to remove it, more faces emerged. Men, women, children. All gazing out from the floor with haunting expressions. Word spread quickly. Paranormal researchers and curious onlookers arrived, dubbing the mystery the Belmez Faces. What made it all more chilling was that these faces seemed to move. Over time, they would fade, shift, and return in new forms. Some locals believed the faces were connected to a burial ground beneath the house. Others thought they were a hoax or a product of subconscious human influence on the environment, a theory known as thoughtography. Scientists tested the cement and even excavated parts of the house, but the mystery only deepened. Despite countless studies and scrutiny, no one has ever definitively explained how or why these eerie images keep forming. Were they remnants of spirits trying to be seen? Messages from another realm? Or just an elaborate trick played too well? As you drift toward sleep, imagine a simple kitchen floor quietly holding the gaze of the long-departed. Faces locked in silent witness, waiting in the stillness for someone to understand their story. 64. The Vanishing of Frederick Valentik. In 1978, a young Australian pilot named Frederick Valentik vanished while flying a small aircraft over the Bass Strait. Before disappearing, he made a chilling radio transmission. He reported being followed by a large, unidentified flying object with strange lights and erratic movements. "It's not an aircraft," he said. Then the radio went silent. Neither Frederick nor his plane was ever found. No wreckage, no trace. The only clues were his final words and a recorded transmission filled with static and metallic noises. Was it engine failure? Disorientation? Or something far stranger? UFO enthusiasts believe Valentik encountered an alien craft. Some think he may have faked his own disappearance. But his family and aviation experts argue otherwise. Frederick was an experienced pilot and had no reason to vanish. The incident sparked investigations and debates, yet no answers emerged. Adding to the mystery, several people reported seeing strange lights in the sky that night. Witnesses described a green light following a plane, matching Valentik's account. But with no physical evidence, these remain stories in the dark. As you lay in the quiet, imagine flying alone in the vast sky, radio crackling, a mysterious shape looming outside your window. And then, nothing. Just silence. A pilot swallowed by the unknown. 65. The Hinterkaifeck Murders. In 1922, on a remote Bavarian farmstead known as Hinterkaifeck, 6 people were brutally murdered. The victims included a farmer, his wife, their daughter, the daughter's 2 children, and the family maid. What shocked investigators wasn't just the crime, but the strange events that preceded it. Days before the murders, the family reported hearing footsteps in the attic. A newspaper appeared on their porch that no one remembered buying. And the previous maid had quit, claiming the house was haunted. After the murders, neighbors found the bodies stacked in the barn, covered with hay. Strangely, it seemed the killer had stayed in the house afterward. Animals were fed, meals eaten, and smoke was seen rising from the chimney. But no one was ever caught. The murder weapon, a pickaxe, was discovered hidden in the attic months later. Speculation ran wild. Was it a neighbor? A vagrant? Or someone hiding in the home all along? Generations later, the case remains unsolved. The house was demolished, but the mystery lives on in whispers and cold files. Now, as you rest your head, picture a quiet farmhouse under a gray sky. Footsteps above you. A presence unseen. A mystery carved deep into the silence of history. 66. The Haunting at Hoia Baciu Forest. Deep in the heart of Transylvania lies a forest so unnerving, it's often called the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. The Hoia Baciu Forest, with its twisted, contorted trees and eerie silence, has earned a reputation for paranormal activity that defies explanation. Those who step into its dense woods report sudden anxiety, nausea, and even time loss, as if the forest itself is playing with their senses. The mystery took root in the late 1960s, when a military technician captured a photo of what appeared to be a UFO hovering over the forest. Since then, the area has drawn UFO hunters, ghost seekers, and skeptics alike. Visitors often speak of strange lights floating between the trees, disembodied voices, and even sightings of spectral figures. One of the most curious spots is a circular clearing where no vegetation grows, as if nature itself refuses to touch the ground. Some believe this forest is a thin place, a portal between dimensions. Others think it holds echoes of past traumas. Some even suggest that the land remembers pain. Whatever the truth, Hoia Baciu seems to hum with an energy that science can't quite pin down. As you close your eyes, Picture the gnarled trees swaying without wind, whispering secrets in a language long forgotten. In the heart of this haunted forest, something ancient waits, quiet, watching, and perhaps reaching out to you through the shadows. 67. The strange death of Eliza Lamb. In 2013, the mysterious case of Eliza Lamb gripped the internet and baffled investigators. The 21-year-old Canadian student was found dead in the water tank of Los Angeles' infamous Cecil Hotel after being missing for several weeks. But it wasn't just her death that disturbed people, it was the deeply unsettling footage from the hotel elevator that was released during the investigation. The video shows Eliza behaving erratically, stepping in and out of the elevator, pressing multiple buttons, peering into the hallway, and making strange hand gestures, as if she were hiding from or communicating with someone, or something, that the camera couldn't see. Then she disappears. Weeks later, guests began complaining of low water pressure and a strange taste, leading maintenance workers to discover her body in the rooftop tank. The rooftop was supposedly locked and alarmed, and the tank itself was difficult to access. How Eliza got there remains a haunting question. Her death was ruled accidental due to drowning, compounded by her bipolar disorder, but many believe there's more to the story. Some suggest foul play, while others point to the Cecil Hotel's dark past, a history of suicides, murders, and notorious guests like serial killer Richard Ramirez. As you drift to sleep, imagine the silence of an empty hallway, the quiet hum of an elevator, and a girl who vanished into thin air. A mystery so haunting it lingers in the corners of your mind, long after the screen fades to black. 68. The Stone Spheres of Costa Rica. Scattered across the jungles and plains of Costa Rica are hundreds of near-perfect stone spheres, some weighing as much as 15 tons. These mysterious objects, known locally as las bolas, were first discovered in the 1930s during a fruit company's excavation. Their existence baffled archaeologists and continues to spark debate among scholars, spiritualists, and conspiracy theorists alike. Made from granodiorite, a rock not commonly found near their current locations, the spheres were likely transported over great distances. Some are polished to a startling smoothness, and many are perfectly round, an incredible feat for ancient peoples with no metal tools. While most believe they were created by the Diki culture, their purpose remains unknown. They were found in clusters, often aligned astronomically or forming geometric patterns, but no written records were left behind. Over the years, theories have ranged from astronomical markers and status symbols to navigational tools or religious artifacts. Some fringe thinkers even suggest alien involvement, given the precision and weight of the stones. Sadly, many spheres were damaged or moved by treasure hunters believing they contained gold. As you begin to dream, imagine walking through a misty Costa Rican forest, stumbling upon a clearing filled with silent, ancient stones. Their surfaces cool and smooth under your fingers, their presence oddly comforting, yet entirely out of place. They seem to watch, timeless and unmoved, keeping their secrets buried deep within the earth. 69. The Jatinga bird suicide phenomenon. High in the misty hills of Assam, India, lies a tiny village named Jatinga. By day, it seems unremarkable, surrounded by lush forests and winding roads. But when the monsoon rains roll in and September skies darken, something deeply eerie occurs. Birds, in large numbers, begin to dive from the skies, crashing into buildings, trees, and the ground below. It happens only at night, only during specific months, and only in a small stretch of land. For centuries, the indigenous people believed the birds were possessed by spirits, lured to their doom by supernatural forces. Even now, scientists struggle to explain the phenomenon. Many of the birds that plunge to their deaths aren't nocturnal and shouldn't even be flying at night. Light seems to attract them, but why only in this one area, and only during a short period of the year? Some believe weather plays a role. Fog, high-altitude winds, and atmospheric pressure might disorient the birds. Others say magnetic anomalies could be interfering with their internal navigation. Yet, no single theory has fully explained the mystery. It remains a tragic and haunting event year after year. Imagine the stillness of a foggy night, broken only by the flutter of wings and sudden, sharp impacts. In the silence of Jatinga, even the sky seems to weep confusion, as nature itself stumbles into a mystery no one can yet solve. 70. The Montauk Project Conspiracies. In the quiet hamlet of Montauk, New York, nestled at the far end of Long Island, an old military base, Camp Hero, has become the center of one of the most bizarre and enduring conspiracy theories in American history. Known as the Montauk Project, this legend suggests that secret government experiments took place there during the Cold War, involving time travel, mind control, and contact with extraterrestrial beings. It all began with rumors and the strange appearance of decommissioned military facilities hidden behind civilian areas. Whispers turned into books and testimonies from supposed participants who claimed to have witnessed unimaginable experiments, children trained in psychic warfare, portals to other dimensions opening deep underground, and powerful technologies that could manipulate thoughts or erase memories. The most famous alleged participant, Preston Nichols, claimed he recovered memories of being involved in the Montauk Project after being subjected to mind control. He described machines that could manifest objects from thought, and timelines collapsing into chaos. The story is so fantastical it borders on science fiction, and yet, it's captivated millions. No conclusive evidence has ever surfaced, and the US government denies anything extraordinary ever took place. Still, the abandoned bunkers and eerie atmosphere around Camp Hero continue to attract thrill-seekers and believers. As you let your thoughts drift tonight, imagine a hidden lab beneath the earth, where reality blurs and time slips sideways. Where secrets, if they ever existed, have long been buried, or perhaps simply forgotten. 71. The Curse of Otzi the Iceman. In 1991, hikers in the Alps stumbled upon a discovery that would captivate the world: a perfectly preserved mummy, frozen in the ice for over 5,000 years. Dubbed Otzi the Iceman, this ancient man was so well preserved that scientists could study his last meal, his tattoos, and even his cause of death, an arrow to the back. But shortly after his discovery, a chilling pattern began to emerge. Several people closely connected to Otzi's excavation and study began to die under strange and unexpected circumstances. The first was the man who found him, killed in a freak avalanche. Then a forensic expert who examined the body died in a car crash. Another researcher died from a rare blood disorder, and yet another fell to his death while presenting Otzi research. In total, at least 7 people linked to the mummy have died prematurely. This string of tragedies led many to believe that Otzi was cursed. Some claim disturbing the dead, especially someone from such a distant past, carries supernatural consequences. Skeptics argue it's mere coincidence, especially considering the number of people involved in the research. Yet, the legend of the curse persists, adding an eerie layer to an already extraordinary archaeological find. Otzi isn't just a mummy, he's a mystery, one whose silence echoes louder with each unexplained loss. So as you close your eyes tonight, think of the ice-locked past, of ancient secrets disturbed, and the chilling possibility that some things buried in time might not want to be found. 72. The Ghost Ship Mary Celeste. In 1872, a ship named the Mary Celeste was found drifting aimlessly in the Atlantic Ocean, completely intact, but without a single soul aboard. The lifeboat was missing, but otherwise, the vessel was in seaworthy condition. The crew's personal belongings were untouched, and there was 6 months' worth of food and water on board. Even the cargo, over 1,700 barrels of alcohol, was still mostly intact. So, what happened to the captain, his family, and the 7 crew members? No signs of struggle. No distress signals. No definitive clues. Theories have ranged from pirates to mutiny, sea monsters to rogue waves. Some suggest the crew may have panicked over alcohol fumes leaking from the barrels, fearing an explosion and abandoning ship temporarily, only to be lost at sea. Others believe something far more sinister took place. Despite decades of investigations and countless fictionalized retellings, the true fate of the Mary Celeste remains unknown. It drifts through maritime history as one of the most haunting nautical mysteries ever recorded. So as you lie in bed, Imagine an empty ship rocking gently on the waves, its sails fluttering in the breeze, its decks eerily quiet. A ghostly vessel on an endless voyage, with questions echoing across the sea. 73. The alien alloys in the Pentagon's secret programs. In 2017, news broke of a secret Pentagon program called ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. This government initiative reportedly studied unexplained aerial phenomena, better known to the public as UFOs. But what caught even more attention were claims that materials recovered from these encounters were being stored and analyzed by defense contractors. Some of these materials, according to reports, had properties not found in any known earthly substance. Referred to as alien alloys, these fragments supposedly displayed strange behaviors, such as altering gravity, responding to electromagnetic fields in unexpected ways, or shifting molecular structure. Officials remained tight-lipped, offering few details and raising even more speculation. Were these truly extraterrestrial artifacts? Advanced military prototypes? Or an elaborate smokescreen hiding something else entirely? What makes this mystery so compelling is the mix of credible sources and shadowy secrecy. High-ranking defense officials, pilots, and researchers have all suggested there's more going on behind closed doors than the public knows. As you ease into sleep, let your imagination drift toward a hidden hangar deep in the desert, where unknown metals shimmer under bright lights, and scientists try to unlock secrets from the stars, mysteries that could change our understanding of physics, reality, and life itself. 74. The Unexplained Lights of Brown Mountain. In the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, a strange phenomenon has puzzled observers for over a century. Floating orbs of light appear and disappear over Brown Mountain, glowing in hues of white, orange, and red. These lights move without pattern, hovering and darting, sometimes appearing close and other times far off in the distance. Locals call them the Brown Mountain Lights, and they've inspired legends, scientific investigations, and even songs. Early Cherokee and Catawba stories spoke of ghostly lights representing fallen warriors. During the Civil War, people believed they were spirits of soldiers who never returned. In modern times, geologists, meteorologists, and even NASA have tried to explain them. Some suggested swamp gas, others point to reflections of car headlights or natural piezoelectric discharges caused by stress in the rocks. But none of these theories have fully accounted for the light's behavior, especially since sightings predate automobiles. The lights have been photographed, studied, and even hunted, but their source remains elusive. Despite countless efforts, no one has been able to replicate them in a lab or tie them definitively to any natural cause. So as your eyes grow heavy, picture a quiet mountain under a velvet sky, and tiny lights dancing above the treetops, silent, mysterious, and forever just out of reach. A natural enigma, glowing in the dark, inviting us to keep wondering. 75. The enduring mystery of crop circles. In the stillness of early morning fields, strange and beautiful patterns often appear overnight, massive, intricate designs etched perfectly into crops. These are the crop circles, a mystery that has captivated imaginations for decades. From simple circles to elaborate fractal-like geometries, these formations seem too precise, too complex, and too sudden to be explained away by mere chance. The modern phenomenon gained global attention in the 1970s and 80s, mostly in the English countryside. At first, many believed them to be pranks, crafted with planks and rope under the cover of darkness. And yes, some were hoaxes. But as the years passed, formations grew more sophisticated, appearing in hours, covering massive fields, and often showing no signs of human disturbance. The plants inside the circles weren't broken but bent in peculiar ways, as if subjected to heat or energy. Soil samples from some sites showed unusual changes, almost as if they had been microwaved. Theories abound. Some say it's the work of secret military experiments or underground energy forces. Others point to the possibility of extraterrestrial intelligence, using the Earth like a canvas to communicate through symbols. No theory fully explains all the anomalies, and despite decades of investigation, the question remains: Who, or what, is creating these stunning shapes? As you prepare to drift off, imagine standing in a field under a moonlit sky. You look out over the wheat and see a design so vast and perfect it seems beyond human capability. The silence of the countryside is broken only by a soft breeze, as the mystery of the crop circles remains, etched in stalks, wrapped in wonder, and still waiting for its final answer.